Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go! Do you have absolute certainty on how you go from hello to yes on what you're looking for?
Sean is a master. He teaches. It's not just about sharing the formula with you. It's about making sure that we learn.
I went from $100,000 in debt from law school to having no money and starting my own law firm on my credit card to selling it 4 years later.
Sean and I, we co-created massive victories in 2 unwinnable jury trials, which are recognized nationally now as top 100 jury verdicts.
To be even on the same track with you, who I respect and admire and love with all my heart.
Never again submit. You're not better and you're not less than any human on earth.
When you shared with us about the Unblinded process and the mastery sales training, I just went, wow.
Sean will gain proximity to the most influential and powerful people. He will find out how he can grow their business, how he can help them personally. But the third thing that he does is the most important. Sean serves without an expectation of getting anything in return.
You have very, very high-performing colleagues.
22 years ago, you transformed my life as you did all these people's lives over the course of time. And I couldn't be more grateful. Let's hear it for Tony Robbins.
I don't see him as a lawyer, and I don't see him as a blind person. Someone who has subjugated his ego, who has taught me what serving really looks like.
You have this incredible ability to just have unconditional love for everyone, and that is just an incredible gift.
The moment you have been waiting for.
The American Blind Association is the first new face and voice of that association since Helen Keller.
Formula for formulas, which is exactly what I've learned from Sean. It's a language-based predictable model. We will have over 300 new sales meetings this month.
This superpower in the world that is attainable for you is the ability to influence people. If you believe that, say yes. If you believe that, say yes. Do you think that worked? Gina Ricci, I do think that worked on this Trajectory Tuesday. So grateful for being here. Gina, how are you?
I am feeling pretty amazing, Sean. We had a pretty extraordinary weekend, so thank you for asking.
We did. And what we're here to do is have an extraordinary day together today, playing with the superpower of integrous influence. It's what controls our money, our time, our magic, because it controls everything, including our marketing, our selling, our managing, our leading, our recruiting, our fundraising for profit, not for profit. And that may sound hyperbolic, but it's not. It really does. I believe that influence with integrity is the only attainable superpower, and we're gonna have fun with it. We could be having lunch together somewhere. This is better. It's shorter, and we get to meet more cool people than just each other. Gina, who's here today?
Sean and everyone, first joining us from Rockaway, New Jersey. This man is the owner and founder of ESQuisite Marketing LLC, former chief marketing officer at Norris, McLaughlin, making business development and marketing fun and fruitful for lawyers for over 3 decades. Let's all please welcome Ed Miller to the Heart of Influence.
Ed, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for being here. P.S. Fun fact footnote, I had an interview with Norris McLaughlin in my on-campus interviewing back in the ancient times, 25 or so years ago. So it's a pleasure to have you here today. And what's your fun fact? And by the way, our fun facts are going to be something, we wouldn't expect to hear. Could be the most proud moment you ever had. I don't know. Could be an embarrassing moment. Anything recent, something unique. So what do we have? Fun fact.
Well, it's both proud and embarrassing, I guess. When I was in college, I went to Syracuse University, and they used to have a big block party every year. And this is in the heyday of MTV before cell phones and all that.
Yeah.
And somehow I managed to get on a live segment, and mom and dad saw it live, and I had a cocktail in hand, and this was out of control. So I got a call on the fraternity house payphone saying, "You better get back to work and stop screwing around." So, but my friends who saw it thought it was great. So,
I'm absolutely. You weren't like wearing like red, white, and blue, like spring break bikininess or something, were you?
Yeah, it was Central New York. It was nowhere fun.
Well, brother, welcome. And by the way, what's the mission, the vision, the purpose? What's it all about for you?
Mission, vision, purpose. So I come from a family of blue collar workers. My dad's an electrician, grandpa's a pipe fitter. And at a very young age, my dad said, I better go to college and get educated because I have to use my hands to make a living. I'll probably starve to death. So I have a need, a drive to help build. And I took the career of helping lawyers build their individual practices or law firm build their firms. So that kind of drives me is that building.
Yeah. Immense suffering, immense overwhelm, immense business operatorship, not ownership present. Thank you, brother, for supporting people and accelerating through that. And welcome to the Heart of Influence.
And thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. G Money, who do we have?
Next up, joining us from Northern New Jersey, this man, Sean Gallagher. I can't wait for you to hear this man. A licensed CPA since 1992, focused on individuals and business. He loves looking at people behind their paperwork and building deep relationships. Clears through 600 plus 1040s every year. Wow. Let's all put our hands together and welcome Mark Eiger to the Heart of Influence.
Mark, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Thanks for being here. What's your fun fact?
Well, my fun fact is that I knew you when you were about 22 years old. I worked at a UJB Financial.
Oh my God.
And your stepdad worked at UJB Financial and you worked in my department. I was your supervisor and look at you now and I'm still me.
That is unbelievable. Of course. How are you? Oh my God. I'm
great.
I don't know. Do you know that I'm blind? Maybe. Or
yes.
No? Yeah.
No,
So
I have followed your career.
Oh my God. Thank you for being awesome. And thank you for that time. And this is an extraordinary gift. Really welcome. And I'm super fired up to have you here today. And what are you doing now in the mission? Like what's happening?
So, I'm a, CPA. I work with families that own businesses and, I take care of them, but my mission is to be a great resource to my clients, to help them any way I can. And of course it has to be cost effective for them and profitable for us. I got a family to feed.
Beautiful. And Mark, where do you live?
So I live in Monmouth County now in Manalapan, New Jersey.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for being here. It's awesome to reconnect.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Gina, that's super cool. Who else to say?
Next, joining us from Roseland, New Jersey. She's a firm shareholder, land use, redevelopment, commercial, residential, real estate, and so much more, representing property owners, developers, etc. Loves watching projects go from inception to completion, changing the landscape of communities and entire cities. Let's all give it up for Marsha Moore.
Pleasure being here.
Hi, Marsha. Thanks so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And what's your fun fact?
Fun fact, I'm originally from Jamaica. I came to the United States when I was 10 years old. Just a brief fun fact that my mom migrated to the States in 3 years. I lived with my grandmother and I waited actually 4 months on a porch waiting to come to America. So I came when I was 10 years. So that's my fun fact that kind of drives me.
Wow, that is extraordinary. Amazing place. And what's your relationship with Jamaica since?
Well, I just went home for my birthday last month. I'm a tourist. I do go home, but I'm a tourist. I go home to enjoy the food and the beautiful country, but I still have family there.
Yeah. One of the most beautiful places in the world, without a shadow of a doubt, that I've never been to. And I have to get there. So big fan of James Bond, big fan of Jamaica. I go to the Cayman Islands a lot. I was just there a little over a month ago. And a whole bunch of the fine folks that we've become friends with over the years are from Jamaica there.
Yes, I say half the Highlands from Jamaica.
Yes, it's unbelievable. So Marsha, thanks. And what's your mission, vision, purpose? What's it about?
Mission is just building relationships, building clients. I talk about in the land use development, it's all about the relationship that you create. Most of my clients I've had for over 20 years and I create that. And kind of, leaving a legacy. That's what drives me, just the ability to join and build continuously with the clients and they keep coming back, and then just to leave a legacy for my family.
Awesome. Well, Marsha, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your very inspirational story. Thank you. Gina, we got awesome people. Who else is here?
Next, from Newark, New Jersey, Director of Commercial and Criminal Litigation at Gibbons Law, Director of the firm's John J. Gibbons Fellowship in Public Interest and Constitutional Law, litigating historic and cutting-edge civil rights and civil liberties cases, former president of both the Association of the Federal Bar of New Jersey and the Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers of New Jersey, Harvard grad Sean Callaghy.
The H-bomb has been dropped. The H-bomb has been dropped.
Let's please all welcome Mr. Larry Lusberg to the Heart of Influence.
Wow, what a good intro. And Sean, good to see you again.
Larry, how are you? I had no idea that you were going to be on. And even when they were beginning the introduction, I'm like, that sounds a lot like Larry. And dude, you went to Harvard?
It's not, I don't use it as my number one selling point, just for the same reasons as you called it the H-bomb. Let's be clear.
That's unbelievable. You guys used to shout safety school at us at Columbia. That's amazing. Well, congratulations. And Larry, what's your fun fact?
Man, I don't have that many fun facts because, as you know, all I do is practice law, but I do have an unbelievable 3-year-old now granddaughter who is the most fun person ever. And I will tell you, there's nothing better for those of you who are not yet grandparents than having a grandchild. And so I'll tell you a little story about that. So when she comes to my house, she plays with these little Russian nesting dolls, one doll inside another, you know how those are. And last time she was here, I didn't clean them up. I left them right in this little window seat that we have where she always plays with them. And she came back again this past weekend and she said, "Oh my God, Larry," she calls me Larry, "you left the nesting dolls right on the window seat. You are such a genius." And so I'm not sure she knows what a genius is, but I sure was grateful. Anyway, and by the way, another fun fact is that whenever you get on any kind of call like that, this is the story about the suburbs, people start blowing leaves outside your window. So sorry about the noise. Yeah.
No worries. Hey, Larry, real quick question. I don't think I've asked you, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Paramus. We actually had this discussion one time, not far from your office.
That's right. No, I do remember.
Yep. I'm really walking distance from there. Went to Paramus High School. And now I live in Chatham.
Very cool. Well, Larry, thank you so much for being here and for everything that you do for me and for the world to bring truth and justice forward. So thanks, Larry.
It's an honor.
G Money. We got Larry, H-bomb.
Fun.
Oh, wait. Here's my fun fact. I forgot this. Larry, we just saw the poster that is in my grandparents', God rest their souls, home this weekend. We have a number of beach homes in Long Beach Island. My grandparents have one, and we had a whole bunch of folks down this weekend. And there's a poster of me on their wall still playing baseball at Columbia. And that poster was playing at Harvard. It says people in the back. It's me hitting a triple with people in the background with their Harvard Crimson sweatshirts on. So that's my corollary fun fact for today.
Nothing more exciting than a triple.
Thanks, Larry. Gina, who do we got?
Next, joining us from Montvale, New Jersey, she's a partner at a 30-person firm running the matrimonial law division, experienced in practicing in numerous areas, including tax and finance. And Sean, named as top 10 attorney under 40 in New Jersey, 2019 and 20. Let's all please welcome Evelyn and the Sirius to the Heart of Influence.
Evelyn, how are you?
Hi, Sean. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being here. And what's your fun fact?
My fun fact is I always consider myself to be a very people person, socially want, always to be around crowds. My husband and I are both from an island in Greece called Karpathos. It's right between Rhodes and Crete. And when we were married there 15 years ago, it was a small wedding, all 1,400 of our closest friends in attendance. So when people hear that, usually like 1,400 people, admittedly, I didn't know half of them, but they were all there. They tell me they had a great time. And years later, I still see people saying, "I will never forget your wedding." I really don't know who they are, but they were there. So
Evelyn, who were all these people? Like what was the
tradition? The tradition in Greece is really, it's a small island. There are separate villages, and being my husband family knows everyone, my family knows everyone. They all have to be invited to the island wedding in the summer. So they were
Well,
all
congratulations for having had a king and queen wedding. And what is your mission in the world in the space of family law these days?
Family law is a difficult area of the law practice. I think very emotionally difficult, emotionally invested. You kind of train yourself not to take home some of that when you go home at night to families, to your children. My mission is to continue doing, good for our clients. They're going through some of the most difficult point in their lives. They're probably at their lowest, I would say, when you meet with them. So, my mission is to continue doing good, bringing them through the process, and individually as a professional, growth, continue to grow professionally, personally, because we learn a lot as we go through case to case. So, I hope to continue to do that.
Awesome. Well, Evelyn, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gina, awesome. Folks, who else we have?
Joining us today from the only one out of state, from Texas, Temple, Texas, financial advisor at New York Life, U.S. veteran at Army, and as an Army sergeant. Thank you for your service. Volunteer of the Year at the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce. Proud father of 6 kids. Let's all please give it up and welcome LaShavio Little to the Heart of Influence. LaShavio, how are you?
Oh, fantastic. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thrilled to have you here. And thank you for your service to create a free nation that lets us do things like this. So thank you so much.
Yes.
And what's your fun fact?
Wow, fun fact. I was able to meet every president from Clinton forward, except for our current president.
Really? May I ask how and why?
Some of it was during deployments, and then others was just finding myself being able to meet them. Yes.
Wow. So there's like Forrest Gump-ness present somehow. That is awesome. So, and what's your mission, vision, purpose these days? What's the financial world all about for you?
Basically helping people keep what they love and be able to pass down this generational building. I mean, that's very important to me, that they pass down what they work so hard for and it doesn't go away. So that's my mission.
Awesome. Well, LaShavio, thank you so much for being here. You ready to have some fun?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Thank you. Gina, are you ready?
I am ready. But first, everyone, I'd like to introduce you to our extraordinary host. This man is one of 2 attorneys in the country to have 2 top 100 national jury verdicts between 2014 and 16, leading a medical recovery team which recovered medical revenue recovery, which recovered more than $500 million for healthcare providers in unpaid and underpaid claims. He is an entrepreneur, national speaker, a philanthropist, and the man who raises more money for charity than anyone anyone you've ever heard of, has just raised, I think, over $5 million since the end of June in support of the Ukraine, right, Sean? $5+ million to support the Ukraine, and many other charities. If you think about what happened last week at Tony Robbins' Business Mastery, Tony Robbins himself says there's no one that leads with more heart and more integrity than Sean Callagy, and it is an honor and a privilege that I get to work with you every day. So let's all please welcome our host, Mr. Sean Callagy.
Thanks, Jake. Thank you. So, yes, and Gina is a heart-centered leader, warrior, all the beautiful things. And all we're here to talk about is how do we take that beautiful superpower of integrous influence and bring things forward in the world. Let's have some fun today. So, G, you're like up today. Our extraordinary co-host is going to take the role player role today. Is that correct?
I get to step in the shoes of Bella Verita today, and I'm her understudy as the role player, and I cannot wait. But Sean, what is your fun fact?
My fun fact is that I am a blind person who teaches sighted people and has just this weekend to surf, to ski, and actually to win at carnival games. All of those things are true. And 2 of those 3 happen this weekend: carnival games and surfing. No skiing this weekend, but the winter is coming up. So that is my fun fact, to stand for the idea that sometimes we have these pre-framed stories about people of all sorts. I've had the privilege of speaking, by the way, at Disney, T-Mobile, other major corporations on concepts of diversity and inclusion and the stories that we tell. And blind people can be powerful, fun, adventurous, athletic, brilliant, and they can be mean, cruel, and nuts, all the different things. They're not just the kind of weak and feeble in need of help. And that's the story of the world. Like, how do we break paradigms? How do we create reality and truth and bring it forward? And that's what the show is all about. So Gina, who's going first?
First up, let's go with Mr. Mark Eiger.
Mark, here's what we're doing. We're not talking about pitching, hooking, closing. We're talking about integrous influence. How do we go from hello to yes as we bring truth forward, Mark? Gina will be anybody you want her to be. She could be an ideal client. She could be a strategic partner. She could be somebody that you're seeking to raise private equity money from or charitable money from. Mark, who would you like Gina to be?
So let's make it easy. Gina can be a business owner and a prospective client.
Beautiful. Gina, you own a business. Take us in.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, how can I help you?
Oh, I'm not sure. Somebody told me that you were going to be able to help me with my accounting.
Yes, so not to sound silly, but you definitely called the right place. That's what we do here. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what business you're in?
Well, I am in the middle of first of all, I'm in the middle of a difficult divorce and starting a career. And my former spouse always did the accounting, and now I'm starting a coaching business, coaching and writing a book, and I'm really not sure the best path nor the best person to work with. So forgive me if I'm like a little bit of a deer in headlights, but it's kind of a trying time, and I'd love to, just learn more about how you can help me. Somebody gave me your name, so this is like my first call. So that's what I'm looking for right now. Not sure if it's the right fit, but
right. Well, that's what we're here to explore. Look, certainly this is, I guess, a bit of a transitional period for you. And one thing that you learn working with us is that we don't expect you to understand accounting parlance and debits and credits. That's what we're here for. Your job is to build your business. Your job is to get ideas for your book and put them on paper, and to working through this personal transition that you had. I have a team of accountants and bookkeepers who can handle the minutia, debits and credits, and make it seamless for you, give you the information that you need.
Okay. And have you worked with many people going through this and creating businesses and that, have you done much of that work?
Absolutely. So, we love dealing with clients who are embarking on new business ventures. We like to become a strategic partner with our clients and help them grow, because when our clients grow, we can grow along with them. And, certainly, life presents its challenges, and we're familiar in all those aspects of what happens when you have a tax unit that's no longer going to be a tax unit, and wading through those challenges as well. So this is the kind of thing that that we do every day.
Okay, so even with small businesses.
Yeah, absolutely, sure. That's really our niche, is a small family-owned businesses.
Okay, all right. Well, Mark, thank you for your time, and I look forward to connecting with you.
Yeah, Gina, awesome. Great work, Mark. We'll see the judges have to say in a second. Gina, who's up?
Next, we have Mr. Ed Miller, our next participant.
Ed, who do you want Gina to be?
Okay, so I want Gina to be a very busy attorney who has her own law firm of less than 10 attorneys. She has an entrepreneurial spirit, has hired marketing companies in the past, but for whatever reason, just isn't happy. Expectations weren't met, and that's about it.
Gina, you could be me. Gina, take us
Be
in.
you.
Have
I'll do
some
my
fun.
best.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
Hello, this is Gina.
Hey, Gina, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. So what
How can I
brings you
help
to calling me today?
I was returning your call. I heard you reached out to me, and so what was it that I could do for you?
Well, so you want to, I'm going to jump in a little bit. So you want to grow your law firm and you want to have marketing strategies that stick and that are tailored towards your firm. Is that what I recall from your email I got?
Well, yeah, I'm looking for new, yes, I've been in business for, over 10 years and just my marketing is not going the direction that our process is not going in the right direction. We're not accelerating. I feel like we're stuck. So I'm really looking for the new path, the right person, the right fit, somebody that aligns. Mm-hmm.
So where, what have you found to be successful? I know you told me you were burned by a couple marketing companies. Where were those pain points for you?
Well, yeah, we have spent, tens of thousands, over $50,000 in the past couple of years, easily on marketing, and just we didn't get the outcomes that we expected. As far as the results. So I don't want to keep spending tens of thousands of dollars on something that's not working. I've kind of had the last two marketing companies have sort of done, the same thing where there was the follow through in the marketing didn't work the way that we had hoped, if that makes sense,
Sure.
Yeah. So there's just, and I'm spending too much time on it, and I don't have time to spend so much time on marketing.
Well, I appreciate that, especially since you probably measure your life in 6-minute increments, and the marketing should be left to the professionals, and you should be able to practice law and run your business. So that's the way I start.
Okay.
And what would your expectations be? Meaning, how are you measuring success? What variables and things do you analyze?
Well, we're analyzing obviously social media marketing, especially, and how that, how what we've been doing has not been working. So social media marketing, our landing pages, everything in the digital platform that we have now. I really want to revamp everything. So right now we're not getting any of the results that we want. We're spending more money on marketing and not making it back. We're not getting a return on the investment. So we need a new path. We need a new, direction on this.
I got you. So I would suggest that, we meet and we'll go through a complete analysis of what your goals are, what your expectations, what your budget is, and fine tune a tailored approach that's going to fit your needs, talk in your voice on social media, for example, and leave the heavy lifting to the outside experts. So you can, again, go back to measuring your life in 6-minute increments and servicing your clients.
Perfect. So we'll set up a call for, a longer call in the next day or two, and away we go. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good. In the meantime, I'll send you over a short questionnaire so I can start doing some of that due diligence on my end.
Excellent. That's perfect. Thank you.
And excellent work. Appreciate you. Mark, great job as well. Gina, let's go to the judges.
Let's go to Evelyn first.
Yeah, Evelyn, we're going to do.
You're putting me on the spot right away. Go ahead.
Evelyn, here's what we're doing, Evelyn. So it's a score of 1 to 10.
Okay.
A 1 being that you would rather sit in the Jersey Shore ocean for half an hour in January than have a longer conversation with one of these folks. A 5 would be, I grab like one of those maca chocolate latte things at Starbucks. I don't even know what they're called. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life, but something like that. A 10 would be, Evelyn, you would rent a private jet and fly anywhere across the country to have a longer conversation with this gentleman, which is, in fact, what happened this weekend when Chris Crone flew 5 people in that donated $250,000 to Ukraine, believe it or not, to come to Long Beach Island, New Jersey, to learn Integris influence. That really happened. Ukraine relief. This weekend, Gina met them. So Evelyn, it's like 30 seconds of feedback, 15 seconds what worked, 15 seconds what could be optimized, and that score of 1 to 10. Ocean or private jet or somewhere in between. Evelyn or Gina, who's Evelyn giving feedback to first?
Oh, yes, thank you. So Evelyn, please give feedback to Mark.
Sure. I'm somewhere in between the ocean and the private jet. I think Mark did a great job. His tone, I think, was really nice with Gina to kind of try to feel out what it was she about and what she was looking for. I think in order to grab her a little bit more, he needed to empathize a little bit more about her situation. I have a lot of clients who are in her position. I'm scared. I've never done this before. I don't look at numbers. Help me, help me. So I always feel that making the client feel, making that other person that they cannot live with that, they need you. And, you know, that's what I think he needed to deliver to her, that here's what we do. Here's what I'm going to cover for you, so you don't need to worry about it. You know, debits and credits, those things were good, because as someone that doesn't know numbers, maybe she would have been a little lost with it. So I think giving her a little bit of that.
And what was your score, Evelyn?
I would say I would give him a 7.
Nice. So maybe like a maca chocolate latte on a helicopter.
Yes.
G.
Next, let's go to Marsha. Feedback for Larry.
No, not. I mean,
Oh,
Ed
sorry.
or Mark.
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. But I'm looking at the wrong. Yes, Ed. My bad.
For
Not
Ed.
Larry.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Right. I like Ed approach. You know, we deal with marketing all the time. It's not the favorite people that I like to talk to, because, you know, you're trying to practice law, you know, when they email you and say, tell me what you've done this month as far as approvals. But one thing I thought, I'll start, like, what area Junie was, like, what was her target audience? I didn't hear that, like what area she was practicing. Maybe that's something that you would deal with later, but just kind of get a feel of what exactly what her target was that she was looking to develop. I like the complete analysis. I didn't think you came as very aggressive or pushy, and you left it that there was, look, you give us some more information and we'll follow up with that. But
And what was your score, Marsha?
I had
What
a
was your
7
score?
as well.
Right.
Nice.
7 minutes.
G.
So let's have Larry give feedback to Mark.
Sure. And while I'm doing this, I'll figure out what the score is. But just to warn you, Mark, I haven't done a lot of renting of private jets, so I'm not sure that's so, you know, I thought Mark projected extraordinary competence. As I listened to him, I thought to myself, this is a guy who I would trust. He knows his stuff, and he knew it in a way that was not showy, but just calm and measured and careful, exactly what I would want in an accountant. I would have trusted him, and I think he did a tremendous job of inspiring that kind of trust. As a general matter, I like more specifics and concrete examples, and that might have been good if, Gina, you had told him exactly what the problem was, but he didn't have a chance to do that. And so I came out of it feeling this is a guy absolutely I would hire. He's a good guy, a guy I want to spend time with, and a highly competent one. I'd give him an 8.
Nice. And Larry, do you not rent private jets because you have like a fleet of them in your garage?
Yeah, right. You haven't seen my garage, Sean. That's
No, thank you,
There's a
Larry.
ping pong table full of legal files in there. You know?
well, thank you, Larry. Gina.
So LaShavio, let's give some feedback to Ed Miller, please.
All right. I think Ed did a fairly great job as it relates to getting information from you. I mean, he found out that, you know, he spent $50,000, you know, on advertisement, didn't go anywhere. You know that you do not want to spend that type of money again without any type of results. He wanted you to understand. He knew that you wanted to basically revamp your whole marketing for you know, the business. And so in that aspect, he got a lot of information from you that he can work with. And then outside of that, hey, let's set up an appointment, and so that I can now help you in your situation. Along with that, here is a criteria for you to fill out, you know, so I can, you know, do the legwork ahead of time. So with that, I gave him 7.5.
Nice. So, you know, maybe like a prop plane and a maca chocolate latte. LaShavia, awesome job, brother. So here's where we're at. And great job, Ed. Mark, courageous, vulnerable participant seat. Here's what we got going though. What my co-host normally, who had a little bit of oral surgery today, so is not with us, normally likes to do is turn the tables on me. So putting me on the spot like Ed and Mark. So Gina, are you gonna do the same thing to me today?
was so excited when I learned I was understudied today, so I could put you on the hot seat and help these folks put you on the hot seat.
Yeah, because I definitely may give Gina a little bit of a hard time sometime as like in brotherly, sisterly love. So I'm sure this is going to feel good. So what this is going to look like is Gina is going to pick a number, and whatever number that correlates to with the folks there are going to set a scenario for me. And I've been everybody from President Trump to President Biden to folks talking about gun control on both sides. So any wild political issue we're happy to tackle, or the basic issues of maybe it's a fundraising scenario or an ideal client scenario. But what I would offer is put me on the spot in the hardest way possible that's of the most value to you. If you want me to entertain and like beat me up a little bit and watch me squirm, like that's fun. Or if it might be supportive and like raising money. I happen to have raised millions of dollars this year for charity on the stage in a microphone at non-fundraisers in some really unique and integrous ways. So Gina, actually, let's do this. You like assess numbers for the people. I can't see anything. And then I'll pick a number from 1 to 6. Whoever that is will get the opportunity to set the scenario or to assign it to somebody else, where I'll have to go from low to yes. So Gina,
perfect.
I'm going to go with number 4.
All right, that's Ed Miller.
Ooh, Ed dropped into the participant seat. So Ed, what would you like to do? Would you like to assign a scenario for me to have to go from hello to yes? Our only criteria is that it's integrous. We're not selling swampland in the middle of New York City, and that it's individual. So it's not like I'm speaking to the nation about something. It's a one-on-one hello yes.
So being like a TikTok influencer or something is not a good option.
No, I mean, well, you know what? It could be me talking to a TikTok influencer about putting you, Ed, on their channel or something. In fact, the guy that was in my house this weekend has 1 million people on TikTok, Chris Crone. So that's funny you say that. But it could be anything. It wouldn't be me like making a general video, but it could be me having a hello to yes conversation as a person of influence on TikTok, you know, with somebody else to create a video together or anything. So whatever would be fun and or meaningful to you is the scenario.
So I've had I think a fortunate, I guess, opportunity to meet this fellow Fred Gutenberg, whose daughter was unfortunately killed in the Parkland shooting.
Wow.
in Florida, and he's been all over, you know, being an advocate for gun safety and stuff. So if this is not on point, let me know. But I'm sure Fred has to fight a lot of battles with people who will not bend in that issue, right? So if you're, you know, your daughter as a high schooler was tragically shot, how would you try to convince others that common sense gun legislation may make sense?
Wow. Okay. So Ed, thank you. That is definitely not an easy one. And I'm speaking to somebody who is with the NRA, somebody in Congress who is staunchly opposed. Like, who's the person I'm going from hello to yes with, and what's the yes I'm seeking? So I'm Fred, and yeah.
Is that the question? But I like how you tee that up. I mean, I would say, yeah, go for that.
Yeah, so you want me to be speaking to somebody at the NRA or somebody who is in Congress on the opposite side?
I would think a politician who may have, you know, that NRA like AAA rating or however they do it.
Got it. Okay. So, Ed, would you like to be that NRA triple rated congressperson, or would you like to have that be somebody else? I'm Fred, and would you like to have who's going to be the person in Congress?
It could be anyone. I'm not really a big NRA guy, so I don't know the counterpoints to arguing that. But is that important? If anyone wants to step up,
no. I mean, you could just take their position, or if anybody. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be like, "Yay, I want to volunteer."
I'll do it. I don't care. It's fine.
So, but you could. Would you like to be that person, or to sign it to somebody else?
No, I'll do it.
Okay. All right. So you're Congressman Ed. Yes.
Congressman Ed.
Okay. So Congressman Ed, it's an honor and a privilege to have 3 minutes or 4 minutes or so here today, sir. Thank you. Is it still a good time for us to have a conversation? Again, this is Fred.
Sure.
So, you know, how would you like to address you, like Mr. Congressman?
Ed is fine.
Thank you. Okay. So thank you, Ed. Ed, can I ask you this? I'm pretty clear on the fact that you know why I'm reaching out to you. And my question is, why did you take this call? And I've signed the NDAs, everything that we're speaking about, not only because it legally is under a confidentiality agreement, but ethically, I would always honor that. Why did you accept this call? Please.
Well, as a father, I can certainly appreciate and feel terrible for your situation and your family. And I couldn't imagine being in that position. However, since this is off the record, I get a lot of money from the NRA and other types of organizations, and I have constituents in a very heavy gun culture type of jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So somehow I'd like to be convinced how I can, perhaps back some common sense gun reform laws without throwing away my support.
Yeah. Well, Ed, thank you so much. May I ask you this? Because I believe that what I want and care about is not that relevant in speaking with you, because it's really what you want and what you care about. So my question is, why are you still in Congress? Like, what drives you to wake up each and every day to continue to do what you do?
Well, when I first got involved, I thought I could actually serve my community and look out for my constituents. And again, since we're off the record,
yeah,
the process seems a little jaded. If you go against the powers that be in my own party, then sometimes you'll be vilified and you certainly won't be reelected. So I can't do any good for my community if I can't get reelected. And this is one of the pressing issues that would, if I went to the other side, I clearly would not have that opportunity to continue my work.
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate that enormously, Ed, and thank you for your absolute candor. But in your heart of hearts, if you could have it all your way, what would your legacy be in politics?
My legacy would be to, if I could be there when my obituary is written, is to show that I served with integrity and honesty, and I did the best I could for my people.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I know we're short on time, but I feel your heart. Your vulnerability has been quite remarkable and unexpected. So thank you. Would it be okay to just share in this final minute or so a little bit to see if it would make sense for us to have a longer conversation?
Sure.
So again, Ed, my name is Fred, and I had the most horrific loss that a human being, I believe, could face. The loss of my child. And what I believe is exactly what you believe, is that we live in a complicated world where vilification has become the norm. And maybe, just maybe, it's been the norm always. And it's just a little bit louder because we have so much more access through social media. And what I believe is that everyone wants basically the same things. They want to have the ability to earn an income, love their family. They want to be safe. These are the things they want, and they want to be free. And how we get to these places, I think we pretty much agree on. And then we have these like polarizing issues that come up. So for example, Ed, is it fair to say that you don't believe that your next door neighbor should have a nuclear warhead in their garage? Is that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement, or a tank or anything of mass destruction.
Okay, yeah. And on the other end, is it fair that folks that are really in support of gun control, that almost none of those people believe that no American should ever, under any circumstances, carry a gun? Like they're like hunting, like there's very few humans that believe in this country that nobody should ever have a right to touch a gun. Is that a fair statement?
I believe there's folks like that, sure.
Yeah. So generally speaking, we sit somewhere between no nuclear warheads in the garage and somebody in some circumstance to defend their country should be able to carry a gun. Is that fair?
Seems fair, yes.
Yeah. So what I would love to do, if we had the opportunity to have a longer conversation, is to get to a place where perhaps the Republican Party can grow in its strength and not jeopardize the support it has from the NRA, and even begin to change the paradigm of how opposite positions create false paradigms of division for profit. And if you were to grant me, Ed, an hour under confidentiality, I could show you a 17-point strategy that I am incredibly confident would benefit you, our nation, and even the NRA, to make me and people like me feel a whole lot better who've tragically lost a child at the hands of a gun. And if you feel my heart at all and there's any resonance, then say yes to the hour. And if not, thank you so much for your time. So Ed, how does what I'm sharing resonate with you or not?
I think, again, we had that confidential meeting. I would be totally open for it. I would love to hear what you have to say. And if you could come up with solutions that create a win-win and get buy-in from all the players, then that to me sounds like a great solution.
All right. Well, Ed, thank you. And it's an honor, and we'll get it scheduled.
Fred, I appreciate your time, Fred.
Thank you. Thank you. Ed, how'd I do as Fred?
I thought you did very well as Fred. You know, and again, this role playing is a little awkward for me, but I think, you know, that was a nice discussion of how someone can help move the ball forward with all these competing interests and players.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ed, for that. And let's go, Mark. Mark, how'd that feel for you?
You know, the same. I mean, I'm not often in that sort of conversation, and you know, part of me wonders if you really had a congressman out there who you were not ideologically aligned with. I don't know that they'd be so congenial, but I do. I mean, I just like jotted something down. I do like at the end where you point out that it's good for the country, it's good for the congressman, and it's good for the NRA. It's a win-win for everybody. That certainly moves the ball forward.
Awesome. And Mark, here's the key distinction. Regardless of however he was responding, if he came with what we call high Zeus energy, there's disruptive dynamics to cause that Zeus energy to cease. Because as soon as you begin asking people questions, their certainty begins to break. Because of course, nobody wants somebody with a nuclear warhead next door. And if you can cause people through energetic shifting and varying to ask powerful probing questions, all of a sudden certainty begins to diminish integrously to get to the truth, which is, this is all a bunch of nonsense and WWF craziness, or currently WWE. We're not really all that divided. So by the way, thank you so much for being here today. Mark, it was great to reconnect. And how was your time with us in the Heart of Influence today?
That was really interesting. Definitely a nice, something different from my usual Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, very cool. And thank you for everything that you did back in the day when we originally connected at the ripe young age of 22, 30 years ago. So really appreciate you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed, great job in the scenario. Super grateful. How was your time with us? And thank you again, Mark, and you again for jumping into the participant seat. How was it for you?
It was not painful, which is good. It's a pleasure meeting all of you, and that's always, I love people and meeting new people, so this is wonderful. The discussion was good. Again, I just personally struggle with the role playing a little bit. That's probably just my personality, but overall, yeah. positive experience.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Ed, for being here. Marsha, thank you for being here and sharing your beautiful story. How was your time with us today?
No, it was great. Like I said, it wasn't painful. Probably a lot more questions. But when she brought up the issue of influence, that role play just kind of says different ways to influence people. And I like the way that you didn't try to chastise and sort of like tug at the heartstrings to have a further conversation. So she talks about influence. I was thinking about that. There's different ways to influence people.
Yeah. The least effective way to influence people is to make them wrong.
Yes.
We may have to disrupt an open listening, create a little bit of leverage. But after that, when we drop people back down into their heart and integrity at the greatest speed possible, that's when we get to effective and optimal solutions. Thank you again, Marsha, for being here. Evelyn, thank you for being here. How was your time with us?
This was great. I didn't expect it. I think the time flew by. It was great to meet everyone, and Sean, it was great to kind of see you in action, if I will. And it was kind of, I think we all recognized what you were doing with Ed. And I think the most powerful moment was because the whole time I'm thinking, well, Ed has nothing to lose, right? You know, hear him out. And I like at the end when Ed said, it's a win-win, because I think those two thoughts connected. And I think, you know, not even being in the role play role, you know, and Ed being a little uncomfortable with it, I think in the end, I mean, he really came through with exactly the message you were trying to send. So I think that was great.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for being here and for all that you do for people in this beautiful county of Bergen. So thank you. And across the state. Larry, thank you so much for being here. Your heart, your brilliance, your wisdom, present. How was your time, Larry?
So it was so much fun to watch you in action, Sean. You know, we have interacted in other types of settings, and I really enjoyed right from the intro to the piece to watching you do what you just did. Was really fun for me, and I mean, not only fun, but I mean, really interesting. I thought that in particular, the thing that you did that was so terrific and extraordinary was to cut into the idea that about the way we vilify people who disagree with us. I mean, what you took at a play was you should agree with me to at least have a conversation, because we all have to get past this conflict that we all seem to experience day in and day out. And I thought that couldn't have been more effectively done than the way you did it. I enjoyed it. I'll use it myself in conversation, and maybe that's all of this, but I'll use what I heard from all of you today. I mean, whenever you have conversations with people, you learn, you take away, and I did that today. So thank you for having me. It was really fun and you know, a tremendous learning experience. Thank you.
Well, Larry, there is no question that you are, and truly, and I believe here's a critical distinction. I believe there's a big difference between humility and modesty. Humility, I believe, is thinking that we're not better or less than anyone. Modesty is making up a lie that we're not as great at something as we actually are. And so there's no question, brother, that you are a master of integrous influence, and it's why you have the impeccable reputation that you do, and so grateful for you spending the time today. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, our beautiful veteran friend, keeping us safe, Shavio, how was your time with us on the Heart of Influence today?
I'll say thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Truly eye-opening, and the team here expressed so much. So I'm just going to basically concur what they said. The delivery, outstanding, and we learned so much just listening to each other. So I took some great notes in a short time, what it seemed like, and I'm just honored to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Gina Ricci, jumping in as a beautiful understudy, and that's how you began even the introduction role. You did a wonderful job. Love you, G. Just own yourself. You are a true sister in the mission of bringing integrous influence and freedom, truth to the world. So thank you, Gina Ricci. Really. Let me just ask you this quick question, quick 15-second response. Gina, you had the opportunity this weekend to be with 5 people who gave $250,000 to $350,000 to Ukraine relief through the Crone Foundation, to be in Long Beach Island this weekend. And we did everything from surfing to eating ice cream to business interventions to group influence study, all of it. How was your time in that experience this weekend?
Thank you. It was extraordinary. I mean, it's been extraordinary to work with those people and the people that want to make such an impact. And I believe the work that we're doing, honestly, and that you know, with you, the formula you've created can literally change the world. I believe that you can bridge the gap and the divide between the two sides in our country, and not just our country. And I really believe just the work and the people that gave so much and want to make an impact. It was an extraordinary experience to be there with them and to feel and know that we do all have a capacity to make such an enormous impact.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Thank you. That's the key distinction, right? Everyone and anyone has the capability of bringing value together. And how we created this, you know, when I spoke on Chris's stage, he had hoped that we would raise $200,000, and we raised 2.6 million. And the way we did it was by giving people value through a strategy we've created called sustainable giving, where people are not just donating, they're actually getting something they want. They're getting training, coaching, connection to other super successful athletes or entrepreneurs, and bringing those things together. Loads more to talk about, but each and every one of you, thank you for being here. We'd love to have a follow-up conversation. If not, that's okay. We stand for this truth that the financial abundance, whatever level we seek, the time freedom we seek, and the magic, the impact, the adventure, the bringing forth truth, whatever that is truly accessible when we commit to a process of mastering integrous influence, what we do with it, and emotionally how we get ourselves to use it. That isn't a fantasy land where it never, where challenges don't arise. Of course they do, never endingly, but that superpower of integrous influence net always brings acceleration. You contributed to a show that 550 people have been on since the beginning of COVID, more than 3,500 folks. And this was one of the most heart-centered, wonderful groups we've had. Appreciate all of you. Hope to see you soon. I may be physically blind, but I do believe that we're all blind, Gina Ricci.
And just learning to see.
Thank you.
Bye,
Have
everyone.
a great day. Great job. Thank you.